Okay, so hello everyone. We're back with another tier list coming in again. I've said I've been going to do this pretty much this whole week, but it's taken me a little bit longer to do this. But here it is. So we might as well just get straight into it. So we can start off with Venusaur. So Venusaur saw a buff more recently, so it's definitely performing better than it was before. And of course, a lot of the picks, like a lot of the other supports that you play with Venusaurs are good. So of course, I'm going to put Venusaur straight into strong, so S tier. I think it's a pretty good like in all situations really. Like the only time it doesn't perform as well is if you shut down its early game, but more often than not, it can just pretty much scale anyway for free. So yeah, I'd say Venusaur, very strong pick. Solo Q, 5-stack, everything. Next up, we go for the Gengar. Gengar saw some nerfs since the last tier list I did. Sorry about that, I'm still a bit sick. So, I think Gengar's not as strong as he once was. He's dropped a little bit. He's not terrible, he's not great. I think somewhere between B and A. I'm not too sure right now. He can still snowball. If I'm basing solely on solo, I put him higher. But if it's 5-stack 2, I put him a little bit lower because I don't think he performs as well. I'm not too sure. I'm torn. I'm very torn. Let's drop him in low A for now. So after this, Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime also, I think this is probably the lowest Mr. Mime's ever been on this tier list. I think I've kept him at S or SS, like double S, for a long time. So I will say, I think Mr. Mime's still good. Power Swap, still good. It doesn't stun as much, you can't solo everything, but it's actually a support if you play Power Swap. Barrier, if Barrier was working as intended, I'd say mine would be A tier. Like a strong A tier pick. Maybe even S tier, maybe borderline S tier, but I think I'm going to keep him in A tier as well. He's probably low A tier, because mine's good against Venusaur and some other picks that's currently coming up. However, Barrier's bugged, so Barrier was fixed. He's always going to be a decent A tier at the moment. He's not weak enough. Still performs very well early game. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Snorlax, the next up, the defender. So Snorlax has just been patched. There was a block bug which made him have a block plus at level 7 instead of just normal block. So basically, you could permanently CC people from level 7, which surprisingly was completely broken. So, yeah, he's been patched. He doesn't have permanent CC, but I think he's going to drop a little bit. People were saying he was like top tier, literally top tier, which makes sense. His win rate was disgusting even in solo queue. Now his win rate is going to drop a lot from this, and probably even honestly, I'm not sure if BOI is probably going to be consistently good because block obviously, block is such a good ability at the moment. Like obviously it's not block plus, but it's a very good pick. Not sure which side of Mime he should go, but I'll keep him here. He's around the same as Mime's strength, in my opinion. Gardevoir, another pick that has been buffed recently. Gardevoir, the early game buff is huge. Like the early game laning potential, actually you can outlast hit people in lane. Also jungle level 5, your early game's just even stronger now. So I think Gardevoir's a decent pick. Unfortunately, it suffers to a lot of Sableye, which I'll get onto later, and a few of the other strong picks. But I think it's also a decent A pick right now. I think it's honestly probably even above these two. You just need to get level 5, and level 5's even easier now because of how they buffed it. So next up is Absol, the speedster. Absol has not been faring too well recently. I think everything outclasses it at the moment, really. I don't think it's terrible. Don't think it's a don't pick these. Don't think it's a D tier. The only question is it B or C tier? In solo queue, it's probably higher. In 5-stack, it probably has some use, but I don't know whether to put. It's borderline, I think, in these. I'm gonna keep it in like a low B tier right now. So next up, Garchomp. Garchomp also, since my last tier list, has seen a lot of upgrades to his abilities. And he was not the best pick before. However, he got massive buffs around the board, like double dragon abilities were buffed, his early game stats were buffed, his attack was buffed total. One thing which I don't like is he doesn't get unstoppable with Dragon Rush at level 5, like the combo level 7 with Dragon Claw, Dragon Rush. It's not unstoppable anymore until you until you upgrade Dragon Rush at level 11, which hurts his early game. But the stats he gets, honestly, with also the new items, I think it's putting him at a decent 8 tier 2 right now. Solo Q especially. Scarf is just an insane item. Scarf works so well on so many Pokemon, and Garchomp is one of the key ones. Crown could be something, but I would say Scarf is very important for him. So Lucario, another all-rounder. Lucario it's been out of favor for a while. I honestly think in Solo Q it's just a solid B tier. Like it's maybe above Absol with Pup, but the thing is it gets outclassed by URSHIFU at the moment. So honestly, it may even be dropping. Like you may see even less and less. Like there's situations where Lucario can still carry, but it's way fewer than it used to be, and he's definitely not in a great position. We come up with the little crab. I'm gonna just put him straight in below average. He's not a great Pokemon. They buffed him. They gave him an extra bit of slow on Rock Tomb, but like, why would you pick this? There's no real reason to pick this. I'm not gonna put it in the. To be fair, yeah, actually, yeah, don't pick it. Don't pick this. don't be that guy. Okay, Greninja next. So, Greninja is honestly I feel in some combinations of his abilities with Scarf, it works very, very well. Even with Surf, you can destroy people with X attack, Scarf, and just like a full damage build with stacking build. I don't know whether I think I'm gonna honestly I put it in low A tier, maybe above Gengar. I think he's performing decently well. Maybe not in stacks as much, but like I do see a decent amount of 5 stacks playing Greninja. I don't think it's the top pick, but it's very good. I think it's underrated. But now, Talonflame. So for a while, Talonflame looked like it was going to do very well. And then each time it just keeps dropping and dropping. Its win rate is probably one of the lowest in the game right now. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it here. I wouldn't say don't pick it. You can win games with it. Crustle, you know, it's not Crustle tier, but it's not my favorite. It's definitely not my favorite pick. It's not performing too great. Kind of just underwhelming. So next up, Charizard. Charizard was seen as one of the best picks when when the new map came out, Thea Ruins, but each time it keeps getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and now honestly I think it's like a best low B tier, with burst, you know, high C tier. I'll keep him in low B tier for now. I don't think he's as bad as other picks because he's still Charizard. But he lost his true damage, which is insane. So you can't defend against Rayquaza if you lose it, which is one of the best things about Charizard. Hindrance resistance Unite is just not great. Everything about him just keeps getting a little bit worse. So he's dropping. Also, the new items don't affect Charizard really at all. So yeah, that's also it. Zeraora. I think Zera is one of those picks which is still little played a bit. I guess win rate terms, it's not the best. You don't see many of them. It can always do, like, you know, the classic cringe, wild charge, spark, you know, invincibility, but it's not really the best. I think I'll keep him in. Do I keep low B, high C? It's another one of those ones. Very, very torn right now. We'll go here. We'll put him here. Maybe I'm wrong, but at best I think he's a B tier. So Cinderace. This is another winner from the recent patch with Scarf. I think I'm going to put Cinderace. Do I put him above Chomp? I'm not sure if I put him above Chomp, but Scarf is exactly what Cinderace wants. Your attack speed is crazy with Cinderace now. You pump, you destroy things. I don't know if I should. I don't want to put him in S tier. He's probably better in 5 stacks. Solo Q is still good though. Definitely still good. Always a good pick. Eldegoss. I think Eldegoss is one of those picks where you can't really go wrong with Eldegoss. Scarf is beneficial for Eldegoss in lane. It's a very aggressive pick, but you can also pick many other items and Eldegoss still performs very well. I think Eldegoss is honestly like very, very good A tier pick right now. I can't say anything bad about Eldegoss. Like, there's no bad build. Everything's good. It's honestly, it's borderline S tier. I think I'm keeping it high A. I kind of want to push it into. I might keep it right at the top of A, but it's very very close to S tier at worst. So next, Cram. So Cram for a while was very strong with Dive. I was a fan of playing Dive, even though I never used to play it before. I think honestly you don't see many Crams at all now, and he just kind of gets outclassed by everything. So I'm gonna drop him down in the C tier. There's just no real reason to pick him. None of the playstyles are really beneficial for Cram in the game right now. Rapid Fire Scarf honestly makes it that if stuff was standing still attacking, which was what Cram wanted, they honestly just kill Cram through his Unite now. Like, if you fight a Garchomp, if you're standing as a Garchomp with Scarf against Cram ult, honestly, I'm pretty sure you just kill him. Like, and other stuff like that, like Cinderace, Greninja, I'm pretty sure you just kill Cram. So he's dropped a little bit more. Honestly, maybe I'll rearrange these. Yeah, it doesn't really matter about this tier. You're probably not going to play these. Blastoise. I think Blastoise is still a decent performing thing. I don't think it's crazy good. It always does decent damage. It's tanky. Both of its builds are pretty decent now. I think the Surf Hydro Pump buffs did put it into a decent position as a tank. But I'm not too sure if it gets the A tier. I think it's top of B tier. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's great, but it's a solid pick. Like, it's fine. You can play it. I wouldn't be mad. Just yeah, that's about it. So Pikachu. This is another one of those things which has its uses. Volt Tackle is always going to be cringe, always going to be good. It always can just solo unite you whenever you want. I'd say it's a pretty standard B tier, like, can't go wrong. Like, it's not terrible. If you want to play Thunderbolt, it's okay. It does a lot of damage, but you need some peel. But you'd rather have something else that does more damage, you know, on a lot of situations. So it's pretty stat average pick. It's not terrible, it's just not great. So Clefable. I think Clefable Follow Me is actually surprisingly decent. I think Clefable definitely has uses. Its win rate seems like it's terrible, but I would say at worst it's top of B tier. I honestly think I've been playing it a fair bit myself. It definitely works very well lots of times in the game. I don't know where I would tempt to put it here. I'm gonna keep it top of B tier for now. But I can see it having a lot of uses at the moment. Its healing is always good. Even if you go Draining Kiss, Follow Me build, you may have another support with you. If you play Clefable LD, play Clefable with another support, it can work very well. Another tank, it still works very well. I think it's a decent pick in pretty much any situation. So next up, A9. A9 is another one of those, I believe, winners of the patch. It was in a pretty bad situation before, but now Scarf gives it a good chance to actually do something in lane. Like even more in lane, sorry. It was a strong laner anyway, but Scarf, it leads into your level 6 very nicely, and then when you get Aurora Veil, you can just pump. You just press A, your Scarf props, you X attack, you know, you use whatever. Your attack speed's crazy. You can perma some people, even more than before. I think it's a low A tier pick. It's surprisingly good. Its weakness is still late game. Like, it's still very squishy and can be one shot. But it definitely feels like it's had a buff. Wiggly. I think Wiggly's win rate is something against what it actually should be. I think Wiggly's a decent, like a solid B tier. I mean, solid B tier. I think it's got some nice picks now with Scarf, because surprisingly Scarf works well on Wiggly. Because Wiggly's boosted auto stuns, you can get a lot more extra stuns out when you fight. So it's definitely pretty good. I can't complain about it. It's not insane, but like Wiggly's it's an okay position. You can always do well early game, and that's Wiggly's strength. Wiggly's strength is early game. You're not crazy late game, but you still have use. Cute Charm is Cute Charm. You can cancel so many things. You know, you can't complain about that. So Slowbro. I think Slowbro is also another one of those picks. It's just decent all round. Like, it's not terrible. It's not great. It's just another one of those just average picks. It always has some use with its Unite. I did get a buff more recently with its Unite cooldown, I believe, and Surf, I think it was. But yeah, it's not crazy, it's not insane, but like it always does its job. I'll keep it in high B tier. It's not quite yet in the good picks, but it's decent. With Champ, this is also another one of those picks which it's been stuck here for a while. I'll stick him next to Lucario. The other all-rounders kind of just outshine Machamp. He's always going to be good in late team fights, but you have to build up to that team fight. If you want to play the close combat build, you have a bit more power early, but other stuff is just better. Like, you can't do as much as the other all-rounders. It's one of the lower end of the all-rounders. I'll get onto some of the all-rounders later, because I think one of them is very much shining in the patch right now. I may be a little bit early with it, but I think it's very, very strong. So next up, Blissey. I think Blissey is bottom of S tier. Don't think it's the strongest thing in the game, but because of so many other things that are so good, Blissey is always just going to instantly be up there. And because Sableye is still in the game, and a lot of CC is in the game right now, Full Heal got nerfed. Blissey has more value with Safeguard again. Blissey is just always going to be good in a lot of situations when you want to keep one thing alive or denying things with CC. And on to that point, another strong pick right now, I'm going to say is Mamoswine. Scarf is massive win for Mamoswine. Your CC is crazy. Your early game is even better than before. Like, you can't lose to anything early game as Mamoswine. If you lose to something early game, you're pretty much just trolling. Like, there's a diverse build pool for Mamo. The only thing I think is bad is Ice Fang. Many items work on him. People don't know what you're going to run, but you can most likely fight anyone early game and win. And your late game's good. You can one-shot carries pretty much. You make them have to use their survivability like abilities or unites or anything like Buddy Barrier, Eject Button, Full Heal to get away from you. You just win otherwise. So it's definitely an S tier pick. I wouldn't say super strong, but I'd say definitely S tier. Sylveon, I hate Mystical Vice Sylveon. Hyper Voice is still fine. Keeping its average B tier. It's not crazy, not terrible. Does Sylveon things, you know. That's about it. So Greedent. I'm gonna put Greedent in low A tier right now. Greedent's I think it's underplayed right now. I think it's actually performing pretty decently because a lot of squishy picks are in the game. Actually, I might even put him a little bit further up. Let's put him here. Because Greedent works well against a lot of squishies, like if you can see here, there's like a Venusaur, there's Cinderace, there's going to be some more other picks, the Gardevoir, more of the picks you'll see later that I put in up here are going to be in the higher picks. It can kind of one-shot, which is exactly where Greedent wants to be with the damage build, which I think is the best way of playing him. Belch, Covet. I'm not a fan of the other builds. I think that's the best way of playing Greedent every single time right now. It can do the job. That's pretty much my reasoning. A solid A tier, maybe higher A tier. Decidueye. Okay, so Decidueye is one of the things which was affected by the Razor buffs. Obviously, you have two different builds. So one's the Spirit Shackle, which is always going to be okay, but the issue is it's squishy. You can get one shot. Sableye hates it. You know, like many things can just destroy it. So I'm not going to keep it in the A tier. I'm going to keep it decent B tier again. It's even though the Razor Leaf buff has happened, the Blissey will keep this alive. However, you have to fully depend on other things to keep you alive with this build. I don't think you have enough peel yourself. I don't actually. To be fair, if I keep it with the A9, I think I keep it right at the bottom of A tier. It has potential to carry games completely, but it needs help from other stuff. Otherwise, you're doomed. You can't survive by yourself. Even 5 stacks, obviously, you have definitely more chance. In solo queue, I would say this is definitely B tier. In 5 stack, I'd say this is a solid A tier, a decent A tier. But it definitely it relies on everything else. So Dragonite is next. I think Dragonite is also still a solid pick. I don't know why it's been dropped out. It always performs well. It always still does good damage. You can go Scarf if you want to. You don't have to go Scarf. It still always has its great last hit potential. Its level 8 power spike is good. You have Hyper Beam. You could go Scarf Outrage if you really want, but it's a bit meme. But it will do a lot of damage, and you won't be able to beat it as another melee character. Maybe not even Chomp. I don't know what other melee character could beat this. Even Mamoswine perma stunning. Outrage with Scarf could just be too much, but I honestly think it's a low A tier. It's a good pick. People just aren't picking it as much. So Serena's also going to be in the low A for me. It's been nerfed. It keeps getting nerfed. It keeps getting dropped down a little bit each time, but it's always going to be good against squishies, which is also what is being played more in the current meta. That's pretty much my only reasoning why it's on A tier. It always kind of performs. The early game still sucks. Because it keeps getting pushed down more and more. Its early game gets hit even harder. So it just needs to get through the early game. After you get through that, yeah, you can snowball, but it's always going to be good when there's squishy picks in the meta. So Trevenant, I think I'm going to literally, you can see all of the, okay, this isn't a tank, this is a line, this is a support, but honestly, it's just an average pick. It's not crazy. It's just none of these picks that stand out on the tanks at the moment, like out of these few. There's pretty much Mamo feels like it's taking away from the rest of them. Snorlax is just going to be good anyway. Blissy's played as a support or tank. Like the other tanks just don't seem to do as much. It really just doesn't feel like it's their time to shine. Like Trevenant gets ripped by all of these, all of the Scarf users. You can survive, but like they just do more damage. Like you just get shredded a bit faster now. So that's mainly my reason for putting it in B tier. Aegislash, I think it's joining in the low A tier. I don't think it's B tier. I think it's low A tier. It got nerfed, more recently again. It still has uses. Still can one-shot some squishies. Has a good secure, but it's just a little bit not as good as before. So Hooper. I'm gonna put Hooper right at the bottom of B tier. Actually, I'll put him above some of these. I'll put him here a little bit towards the middle. Its trick has extra use because of all the carries that's coming up in the game. But I don't think it's crazy. It's obviously its Unite is always going to be good. You can't deny that. But its playstyle is just, it doesn't feel like old Hooper at all. Trick is good, obviously, as I said, because of loads of things like the ripping meta. Many things like that. Yeah, as I was saying. Yeah, like because of Scarf, a lot of stuff is ripping objectives on spawn, as my next pick will say. Yes, you'll understand why. So Duraludon. I think Duraludon has had just constant it was nerfed a tiny bit just before Scarf came out, but in solo queue especially, Duraludon kind of just ripped everything on spawn. You can't do too much against it. It's tankier than the other carries. Blissey, obviously LD, all the supports help it too much. Yeah, it's just a very strong pick. Haven't seen it as much in 5-sec, even though when you do, you know what's coming. But a lot of the time, you can't do too much about it. You just have to make sure like you have secures on your team, or you run him down. But a lot of the time, he can just turn and fight you instead. So I think it's a solid strong pick, S tier. Low S tier, but I think it's a very good pick. Mainly for solo queue, I'd say 5-sec is probably high A tier, but yeah, solo queue's dragging it up basically because of its win percent. You can't deny the facts. It's the top win percent Pokemon in the game right now. That's why I'm keeping it here. Okay, so Azumarill next. Azumarill is just keeps winning in patches. I don't know if it's S tier. It's very close. Let me think about it a bit more. It's just Drain Crown seems to be good on Azumarill. It might be the only Pokemon that's good on in the game. I'm not too sure right now, but from what I tested, it's quite good. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to perform badly. It's always good. It's always strong. Level 4, full power spike. You can't beat level 4 power spikes in lane. That's the earliest you get power spikes. It should pretty much perform average or like well in lane, at average at worst. So I think it's a good pick. Its healing is crazy. You can 1v1 many things. You can 1v1 squishies. You heal so much when you fight. Yeah, I think it's just got a lot of use in whatever situation. So Espeon. I think Espeon, I've put it near the top of B tier. Near the top of B tier. Actually, some of these picks, let me put them here. So I think Espeon belongs at solid B tier. Like Sword Power's decent. Psyshock scales out. It's not terrible. Sword Power can kite a little bit, but I just think Espeon has a little less impact than a lot of other things. You'd rather just be playing other carries, really. That's all I can say. Delphox, I'm putting straight in S tier still. Like it's so good in so many situations. It's so good against like other strong picks too. Like you can always kite against Venusaurs. Yeah, obviously it can unite, but you have enough mobility. You can deal with many things yourself. Supports help Delphox even more. Like its unite cooldown is so low, it does too much damage. I just can't say what's wrong with Delphox apart from its early game. You just need to get through early game. So like stuff like Sableye will counter it and like invading things. But even then you should usually be able to start the snowball at one point. So Glaceon's coming up next. I'm gonna put Glaceon decent A tier. Like it's not bad. It's always good against squishies again, as I said. Level 8 power spike. Your early game's always going to be good. It's not as good as before still, but it's not a bad pick. It's a good pick. It's not average. I think it's above average still. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. Okay, Buzzwole. Honestly, I think I used to be a Buzzwole stan, you know. Used to like the Buzzwole. He's in the mediocre all-rounders again. He's average. Honestly, Scarf does feel decent on him. It's not terrible, but it just feels underwhelming. It just feels like everything in the meta kind of counters him. If you look at all the strong picks. Buzzwole into Blissey, you lose. Buzzwole into Venusaur, you just full heal, he kills you. Mamoswine just kills you. Delphox kites you. Duraludon, you can't get onto him. Like, none of those picks you do well into. You literally cannot reach them. Other carries, if you look at the high A tier, Cinderace, you can't get onto. Gardevoir, you can't get onto. Azumarill, you just lose. So, it's just, yeah, Buzzwole. It can 1v1 things, but not the best things, you know. It beats other mediocre picks, pretty much. That's the main thing. So Tyranitar's next. Tyranitar, it's just a good A tier pick still. I'd say I put him like decent mid A tier. Early game, obviously, Larvitar is okay. Pupitar sucks. Tyranitar is good. Support picks help it. It's good against Ray. It's just, yeah, like you can't deny Tyranitar is just a good pick still. Next up, Mew. I think Mew is a bit underrated. I think it's low A tier. Mew still has a lot of use. Its early game is nowhere near as powerful as it was before, and that's perfect. Keep it like that. I do not like Mew being disgusting early game with Solar Beam. It was not meant to. It should not be able to half shot in DDs in lane and half shot you in lane. So it's good for low A. I'm just going to keep it there. Like, it can't 1v9 like it used to, but it's obviously it can still do some work. But people just aren't playing it because it's not crazy good. It's still a fun pick, but it's just everyone's, I think, calmed down from the Mew hype. They want to play the other stuff. It's not the easiest thing to play compared to some other picks, but it's just it's not crazy good. It's still good, but it's not crazy good. So next up, I think, is the winner of the patch. I think Scyther is honestly probably the strongest thing in the game right now. If you run full, you have to run full heal on it, I think, but it just has so much damage. Like, if you play it well, you can pretty much kill anything. I don't know what really beats it other than, like, surprisingly, Mamoswine. Whenever I play Mamoswine, that's the only thing I feel relatively comfortable on facing a Scyther. Wiggly actually is one of the other picks. Like, the tanks are the picks that feel like they can survive Scyther, but only the tanks feel like they can survive Scyther. And even then, if he has full heal up, he can just combo you twice and you're dead. Like, a lot of the time, you just get comboed. If he has Unite, he's killing you and your whole team. He heals up, especially if there's a Blissey Eldegoss on the team. Like, if imagine them ulting Scyther, you're just dead. You can't play the game. Maybe I'm too biased, but it definitely feels like if a Scyther is ahead, you just lose. Like, if he plays well, you can't kill him. And next up is Dodrio. I think Dodrio is still a good pick. I think it's going to be low S tier, probably the bottom of S tier. It's always another one of those things which invades you. It counters a lot of the good picks because it invades. It doesn't have as much burst. It has a little bit less survivability, but it still counters a lot of the good picks. So it's going to be staying in the low S tier, and that's about it. Scizor, okay, I think Scizor fights a lot of the good picks too. It's got very strong defense. Defense-wise, it's going to be in the high A tier. Obviously, you got to keep hitting your bullet punches. It's very one-dimensional though, so you just keep going in. So a lot of the stuff which has CC, if you can avoid his bullet punch, it kind of cripples Scizor a little bit. So that's the only thing you can really do. Just, it's tanky, it heals, does decent damage, but Scyther's just Scyther. But you want to play Scyther if you're going to play Scizor or Scyther, most likely. Sableye, I think it's still an S tier pick. I'm going to move him up further in the S tier. Cringe Bly, as I call him, you know, he's, yeah, it's just, you do what you want, you invade people, you're stealthy, you can steal stuff, you can dunk. I honestly think people aren't playing him correctly right now. Like, people are just playing too passively with him all the time. You basically need to be as much of a nuisance as you can with this guy. People aren't doing as much as they should. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. So Zoroark, I think Zoroark is a low A tier. Honestly, I've been a bit too heavy with the A tiers this patch. Usually I'd say most things would fall into B tier, but honestly I think like a lot of stuff is playable this patch. I think many things are good. Obviously like the stuff in C tier I don't see played at all. Really low B tier as well, I don't see played much. I think as you go up, there's pretty much when you see stuff. Actually, green's one of those picks I think which is one of the outliers. It's not played much, but I think it's very good. But yeah, Zoroark, it's a decent pick. Actually, no, I might put him high B tier. It's a decent pick. It can one-shot a lot of things. Its early game is always incredible. It just feels like it falls out late game. Like you need to snowball, and if you make any mistakes, the game can just be completely thrown with one death. Which is why I think it's probably just high B tier. So the newest Pokemon, the newest released Pokemon, which Shifu form should we go with? Let's go with the I believe it's the Dark type Shifu, the Wicked Blow one. It basically just outclasses Lucario in every single way right now. It has Unstoppable. It has a long range dash. It takes reduced damage. It's very good. The only issue with this build is it's very slow moving. I'm gonna keep it high A. It's after you've used your dashes, you just have nothing. You have nothing. You can keep autoing. You have to use your ult. If you miss your ult, or if your ult gets like absorbed by something, or like eject mid ult, you kind of just feel like you're stuck. But other than that, it's incredible secure. Damage reduction, you know, you're a bit tanky. You can one-shot things if you catch them off guard, which is always incredible. It's not easy to be one-shot mainly, especially as you have a long-range dash. So I'm gonna say high A tier. And water, honestly, I think they're both. I'm gonna put them both together. They can fight each other among the high A tier. Maybe I'm underestimating the water one. A lot of people seem to be thinking that it's very strong. You can just kind of like auto weave between your abilities and just one shot a lot of things early game. It doesn't seem to be like crazy late game, but like obviously it's level 1 to 4 sucks. You need level 5. That's the main issue with this Pokemon, I think. So if you play it lane, you get a little bit slower into your power spike if people play against you well. But otherwise, people still haven't got used to him, so they're going to be performing pretty decently well. I don't think they're completely OP. I think they're just both very good, especially with URSHIFU bug being fixed. Don't know if it's S tier right now. I think it's just very high A tier. And Dragapult, I'm gonna guess Dragapult's gonna be. I'm gonna put Dragapult. Do I put him in the low S tier? I'm gonna predict. This is the prediction. The prediction of Dragapult low S tier on release. That's my guess. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the tier list. I don't know if I think maybe I should have left it a couple more days, but I think this is a pretty solid take on the tier right now. This is just a mixture of like solo 5 stack put together. Yeah, I think this is pretty much it. Pretty much don't play Crossel, don't play this guy. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.